Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday evening, game week evening. Hope everyone is well. Listen, man, again, coming off this bye week of just nothingness when it comes to Buckeye football, it feels great to be at the top of the week, anticipating some Buckeye football out west. Listen, do me a favor, hit that like button, that little thumb you see, click that for me. And then if you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Hit that bell notification so you get our videos popping up on your devices when we are going live. Also, tonight, we're going to talk about a very, very nice commitment we just got and the connection behind that commitment. We're going to talk about it, break it down, and talk about some other things with the Buckeyes coming up this weekend with the game. But also remember, when you send your super chats, it helps to go towards the Pay It Forward military, first responders. We take care of them because they're going to take care of us. You know the drill. Nevada Buck, how are you feeling on this Monday evening, sir?
Man, I'm so excited about this weekend. I mean, between the great football games that we have coming up this weekend and the Ryder Cup, I don't know if you're a golf fan or not, but you got Ryder Cup coming up this weekend. And I know for non-golf fans, I'm just telling you, the Ryder Cup is the best golf event to watch because it's, United States versus Europe. It's a different kind of pressure because these guys are all centimillionaires. So you can't, they're not going to get nervous over money. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
over pride, like playing for the country. I mean, I remember, I don't, can't remember if it was Calcavecchia or Mark McCum, one of the great golfer back. He's in the Ryder Cup and he topped it off the tee with it went like 10 feet and like it was something like I would do out there on the golf course. Something if you played golf and you played badly, it was like the worst shot you've ever seen, and it was just because the pressure was so big on this thing that he just completely was like a mortal, like you or I, and it's just fun to watch, and it's going to be at Bethpage Black, which is in New York, and the New York crowds are always crazy, and this is
Yeah.
not one of those events where you clap for everybody. This is like they boo the
Oh,
European team. Oh yeah, no, they boo and they
so this is like some
scream.
Happy Gilmore type
This
stuff.
is Happy Gilmore stuff there, and it's gonna be
Okay.
nuts. So yeah, no, so I hardly recommend if you're not a golf fan, tune in. If you're a golf fan, you know what a treat it's gonna be. It starts Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3-day event, and it's gonna be crazy. So I can't wait to see it.
No, that's interesting because I just watched Happy Gilmore 2 not too long ago. And have
How
you seen
was
that
that?
yet?
No, how was that? That's another sequel that I haven't been able to fully commit to because I like the
Yeah.
original so much. I didn't want to have it ruin it for me. So tell me the
Yeah,
truth.
I mean, listen, full disclosure, people who follow the show, I'm a huge Adam Sandler guy. Like, I love Adam Sandler. So I'm like a nerd when it comes to his movies. And so put it like this, Nevada, because I understand your point about kind of like being disappointed. I kind of already set my expectations low,
Yeah.
just to kind of protect myself from disappointment. But listen, it's fun. Now, look, it is full of some of the stuff that you said you don't really care for, which is the familiarity. They kind of
the,
pull
s-
on some of
the
the
the same gags.
yeah, but they
Yeah.
flip it, and I
Okay.
think some of them I think you'll enjoy, but I don't know. We'll see. Shooter McGavin is back.
I
I
like
mean,
Shooter. I'm a big
it,
fan of Shooter.
yeah, I mean it's goofy, it's Adam Sandlery. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was bad, but nothing can touch the first one. Come on, let's just
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
But I think it was fun to watch. I don't think you would go away from it like crap. Why did I waste an hour and 45 minutes of my life? I don't think it's that. I
Well, I'm
I
gonna I'm gonna
appreciated it.
I'm gonna I'm gonna tell you guys just a quick funny story, and then we'll get on to the news of the day. Just when I was back, I have a background in entertainment, and one of the movies that I was in development with was a movie that Jamie Foxx wanted to do, and it was going to be called Woods, and it was like a Tiger Woods. It was like a Happy Gilmore, but like kind of a black prodigy golfer from the hood that's kind of coming onto the tour, and just the whole juxtaposition between the fish out of water stuff between that and stuff like that. And it was going to be called Woods. That was the working title for the movie. I think it would have been great. I think it would have been great. We couldn't really kind of get it together. The script never kind of fully developed, but Jamie was really really behind it and wanted to play the role. And I think it would have been a lot of fun. But
Oh,
hey,
anything with Jamie. I mean, that dude is incredible. I mean,
yeah,
what can
yeah.
he not do?
What can he
Um,
not do? Yeah, he's incredibly talented.
but as a side note, before we move on, Isn't it funny, Nevada? You hear so many stories of the movies that could have been. Like I've
Oh
heard,
yeah.
you've heard so many pitches and scripts and ideas that never came to fruition. And shoot, some of the movies that did come out and become bangers were on that chopping block. And you watch documentaries, barely made it. Um, so it's incredible what's kind of cooking behind the scenes, but never comes out that could be
Well,
dope, man. But
oh, it's funny. When my partner had a great saying, he's like, nobody sets out to make a bad movie, but a lot of people end up making bad movies. And I thought that was so perfect. It's like because every movie looks good when you're in the beginning, they all sound great, and then you finish it and you're like, oh man, that just did not work
yeah,
at whatever level, it just did not work. And yeah, that was a bad movie. But
yeah,
I,
and
I,
then
I made a few of those too.
yeah, I mean, and then you got the cult classics that you talk to the actors and they say, "Hey, I didn't think this movie was going to do anything."
Yeah.
I know one of them, Ace Ventura. You know the story behind that. Like people really like like what is this crap? This is garbage. And of course, it's one of the greatest comedies in my opinion. You can fight me on this. I'm a Jim Carrey guy. I love Ace Ventura. You can't tell me nothing about it. One of the greatest comedies ever. So it's just listen, man. We got to do a movie segment.
Yeah, for sure. Inglewoods, man. We can talk about Inglewoods.
Yeah, yeah, man. That's interesting. I wish it would have came out because I think it would have
Yes.
been dope. But
Yes.
but yeah. So let's get to the topic at hand. So we got a new commitment this weekend out of Miami, Florida. Okay. So there's some familiarity with this young man and his commitment. And the familiarity is he is JJ Smith's brother, Jeremiah Smith's brother. Okay. Out of the same high school, Chaminade Madonna, which I love saying that name, Chaminade Madonna. It's just fun to say. But a ton of talent comes out of that school. And listen, we're going to dig into it. I'm going to pitch it to you, Nevada, to really crack it off before I really get into. I got some quotes and some things I want to touch on. I'm going to put his highlights on, but really, really good get. Athletic kid, obviously, same bloodline as JJ Smith. So, Nevada, what's your thoughts on this big pickup?
Well, Angelo Smith is 2027 athlete, plays both ways down there at Chaminade Badana, 5'10", 180, depending on, so he's not JJ's size, but from the people that I talked to down there, and primarily from the 7-on-7 circuit, where he plays safety, on defense, which is primarily with the way that they're going to be bringing him in to come to Ohio State. But he could play; he literally could play on either side of the ball, and he plays on both sides of the ball in 7-on-7. And they say he's elite. They say he's an elite player. He's only listed as a 3-star now. I would not expect that to be where he ends up. I expect this clearly is a higher ranked kid than that. I just I look, I've lived through this with father and sons where you had the Antoine Winfield Sr. thing, and then Antoine Winfield Jr. comes onto the thing, and Ohio State passes on him, and then Antoine Winfield Jr. goes on to be the highest paid safety in the NFL. So the idea that you've got Angelo Smith sitting there and he's JJ Smith, who is arguably the greatest wide receiver to ever play at Ohio State, maybe the greatest wide receiver to ever play in college football, and you've got his little brother. Yeah, sign me up. I'll take this kid all day, especially when you've got people down there that are seeing him saying, "Man, do not sleep on him." No, he's not JJ, but he's a heck of a football player. Do I believe things like that are in the bloodlines, genetics, and other things? Yeah, I absolutely do. I think it would be really hard to be JJ Smith's little brother and if you played football and not be pretty good at football because you're just around it the whole time, you're covering your brother, you're doing stuff, you're talking about, you're learning. I mean, just I'm excited about this. When I heard this, I was like, man, that's perfect. I love
Yeah.
that. And for people saying, oh well, they're doing it for Jay. Look, JJ's not even going to be there when this kid gets there. He's a 2027. He's not even going to be there, but and JJ's got enough money, he could pay for his brother to go anywhere in the world that
Right.
they wanted. So it's not about wow, he's giving him a scholarship because it's a favor to JJ. JJ makes millions of dollars a year already. JJ's going to make $500 million in the NFL. So this isn't about any type of thing like that. They think this kid has got the potential to be a really good football player, a guy that could really help them. And if I'm going to bet on anybody in the world, if you ask me to take one flyer, it's going to be on JJ Smith's little brother. So I'm super excited about when I heard this. I was like over the moon about it, and I hope you guys are too.
Yes, well said. And I'm gonna add on to that. First of all, look at the film. It's playing right now. One thing he does, he's not a super big kid like Jeremiah is, but he will smack you. He comes up and he hits. I mean, there's plenty of clips. And again, he's at Shamanan Madana. Okay. He's not at some rinky dink school in Idaho. No offense, Idahoans, is that if that's how you say it, but he's in Miami playing at one of the best high schools in the country, smacking cats, and great cover skills. He's a great tracker of the ball, as you can see in this film. He's a little small to play safety, but just in secondary and zone coverage, maybe even as a nickelback, he could be very good on the next level, I think. But also, there's a viral clip of him out there just routing cats up on 7-on-7. Like, he's quick. He runs really good routes. I mean, it's just he's a really good athlete and player. And so, to your point, Nevada, yes, that's the natural thought. Oh, they just gave him an offer. He's only a 3-star. They just gave him an offer because of Jeremiah Smith. Well, that's not true. Okay, first of all, Ohio State's not going to do that. They're going to make you just like they make the quarterbacks who are obviously the starter earn their starting position by doing it on the field. They're going to make you earn an offer, and that's what he did. He came to camp and he earned his offer. He came to camp on offense, didn't earn the offer. Then he came to camp and worked out as a defensive back, and he earned the offer. So here's a quote from him. Well, first of all, let me say, it says Ohio State made Smith earn his offer as he previously camped at OSU as a wide receiver in 2024, but before receiving his offer this summer after camping as a defensive back. And he appreciated that offer wasn't handed to him just because who his brother is. Here's his quote. Getting an offer like that, it felt wonderful. I don't even know how to explain it, but I feel like I really put a lot of work into it, and it wasn't just given to me. Knowing I'm his brother and stuff, people just think stuff's supposed to be given to me. So knowing that I had to work for it to get it, it was a good feeling at the end of the day. It was a great feeling. So, yeah, he absolutely did not get handed this offer just because JJ's his brother. He's a worthy guy from what you can see on film. And like Nevada said, we absolutely blew it with Winfield Jr. I mean, blew it. He was a star. And we did not go after him like we should have. And so, I mean, I'm like Nevada said, what it boils down to, you can have your opinion and say, oh, he's not worthy of an Ohio State offer. Well, we disagree. Go ahead and take this young man. You see the effort, you see the skill, the ball skills, the relentlessness, the hard working. I mean, he's a willing tackler, all that stuff. He is only going to get more and more developed. I trust that bloodline and what I see on film. So I totally agree with you, Nevada.
Yeah, well, when you talk to the guys down there, they're like, look, he already had an offer from Miami. We fully expected Florida and Florida State to be on him. We fully expected them to be in on him by the time he gets done. I think he had Oklahoma State as well, and they think they'll have most of the SEC. So this is not you know, this is not a kid. This is the 2027 kid, so they've got plenty of time. There's a reason why they're going on him early. They're getting out there in terms of doing it. And I like I said, I was just really, really excited about a player like this because of what they say, and because those guys down, they know who the players are. When you talk about South Florida Express, those guys have seen everybody from Teddy Bridgewater to, I mean, just their roster of Zay Flower, these guys. It's just incredible the number of NFL players that they've had, Super Bowl champions, Division One app. I mean, it's just insane. So they know talent when they see it, and they say this guy is talented enough to start for them on either side of the ball as a double underage. So yeah, I was really, really excited about. I know this thing's been kind of cooking. I know he really wanted the offer, was really working hard at it. But the fact that Ohio State kind of came through with it, look, it just shows to me. I mean, Ohio State's continue to work on 2027. You've got 2026 kids, kind of, doing, but you've always got to be watching kind of the landscape of what's going on because you want to see who's out there, who's developing, because not everybody starts out as a 5-star. It's kind of like, Kari Wilder, We're talking about, he when he first committed to Ohio State, now everybody will talk about him being a 5-star. He wasn't a 5-star when he committed. You know what I'm
Nope.
saying? And some people were like down on him, and now it's like he kind of moved up there. This is kind of the way that it works. They're always watching in-state kids. They're always watching for late developers from other places. They're always trying to get on them. They've got a finite amount of recruiting resources, so they've got to look out there and see where they can be best deployed. So like they'll look out there and they'll go, like a kid like Jaden Williams, who's a linebacker, 3-star linebacker kid that I think he was committed was committed to Indiana, or
Hmm.
yeah, I think yeah, and now they're in on him. So what does that say? That means that Ohio State's been watching him develop, seeing how it's kind of going along, and like they like him. They're going to try to make a move on him. Adam Guthrie, the kid that's committed to Clemson, they're going to be moving in on. They got offers into him. Clemson is taking on water right now, so you've got a program that's
Oh
kind
yeah.
of in a lot of trouble right now. So for Ohio State, they're going to monitor that. They're going to see which programs are kind of not doing up there, see which kids might be possible there, and then, circle back with a kid like Angelo Smith, where you've got a 2027 kid who's a 3-star, probably underrated right now, probably flying under the radar, but they're going to get on him in early, get him there. And then by the time he's done, won't be a 3-star anymore. So don't get caught star watching on the thing. Don't be worried about that recruiting. It's funny because when you talk to the Ohio State guys about recruiting, they're not concerned. Like they're and I've been doing this a really long time. I know when Ohio State's flailing. I know when Ohio State's cooking. I know when Ohio State feels like they're falling behind. I know that look, they don't feel like they're falling behind at all. They feel like they're right where they want to be. They like the type of kids they're getting, the product that they're putting on the field. Last year was an incredibly high character group of kids. This year is an incredibly smart, high group character group of kids, and 2026 is looking that way as well. So they've been able to lay back to back to back great classes, superior academics, perfect APR, and yeah, they're just kind of laying it in there. So I'm just really excited about it. I love kids like this. I love kids because look, it's one thing to get the 5-star kids. But everybody can sit in the 5 stars, kind of point them. But it's like I don't think the 5 stars make or break your classes, in my opinion. I think it's your 3 stars and your 4 stars that make or break your classes, because those are the ones where you have to really do the work and kind of,
Yeah.
because the 5 stars, the athleticism is kind of readily apparent to everybody. Everybody can kind of see it. Everybody kind of knows it, and so that's why these mostly untalented ratings evaluators at these websites can put these 5-star monikers on these kids, because they're just so obviously more talented than the other kids. But the question is, how are your 3 and 4 stars doing? Because those are going to be the bulk of your players. Because you're only going to get a handful of 5 stars. You might have, if you're lucky in a class, you might have 2 or 3 or maybe 5 5 stars. But the rest of the class is going to be 3 and 4 stars. How are those guys doing? How productive have those guys been? And Ohio State has been traditionally, their 3 stars have outperformed the ratings, have outperformed the overall metric of a performance with 3 stars. So a kid like Angelo Smith totally fits the bill, totally on point for Ohio State in terms of going out and get it. And that's why I'm so excited about him coming into the class.
Yep, I agree. I think you nailed that with the 3 and 4 stars. Those are the ones who affect more. Definitely agree. Evaluation, development. Not saying you don't have to develop the 5 star, and you obviously want to evaluate the 5 stars character and all that, but you nailed it. 3 or 4 stars is where it's at. And I wanted to bring another one up, Nevada. You brought some good examples up. You know who another great example of this is Ohio offensive lineman Jake Cook. All right. I had the pleasure of meeting him and chopping it up with him for a little bit. I went to Curtis Grant, his wife's grand opening of their smoothie bar, um, and down on campus. And Jake was there, and so we were standing in line, and he was crowded. We were just talking, chopping it up, whatever. And he was just talking about his journey. And remember, he look at his ranking. He's a 3-star, 617th ranked nationally. Okay. Number 39 inside O lineman in Ohio, out of Westerville, 6'5", 295. And guess what? Coach is already raving over him, loving him. He's already ascended up the depth chart. He might be in the two deep, honestly, from what we were hearing. But he's a true freshman for here from Central Ohio area. Not highly recruited, didn't get an offer right away. He had to earn it, and now he's one of the guys that they love and that is already surging. So evaluation, man, this staff trusts their evaluation over the recruiting sites. So yes, do we want the absolute can't miss studs? Yes, we want all of them, but evaluation is key, and culture is key. And this staff and this organization, they understand how powerful the culture is right now. And so there's a fine line where it's like, yeah, we want the best kids, not just talent wise though. We want the best kids culture wise. And if we see a 3-star, like you said, Bakari Wilder, like I mean, look, Sam Greer, give me Sam Greer, Nevada. I've said this before. I'm going to repeat it. I am not trading Sam Greer. Are you? I'm like, give me Sam Greer over whoever is out there. That's just how I feel.
Well, yeah, and look, first of all, I'll always take my chance on Ohio kids. I'll always trust Ohio State evaluations on this stuff. And for a kid like that, um, look, when you see him on tape and you see him play and you see him up personal, and then you talk to the people that are around his school, and then you see him on the camp circuit. The camp circuit to me is not, it's not the be all end all, but you can tell some little thing. You can tell about who's an easy mover, yeah, how do they bend, how they work,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But um, if Sam is not a star at Ohio State, I'll be absolutely shocked.
Yeah.
And I don't like to put that moniker on anybody before they go out there, because I think they're all good and they're all terrific players and stuff. But Sam's just got that little extra special something. So I don't care where you rank him, if it's 5-star, 4-star, 4.5-star, 5.1 star, whatever it is. I just do not see. To me, he's almost a can't miss. That, but short of injury, I'm sure injury goes for everybody there, but he's a terrific player. A guy that I'm so excited to see as part of this class. But hey, I think that goes for in the 2026 class, where there's been a lot of hand wringing about. I love the quality in the 2026 class, and we got guys up and down that line, and they're still adding that. They've got that Kamari Bing out of Washington D.C., the Maryland commit, the
Yeah.
cornerback. I think he's coming in too. Um, I love these late offers, because it's like, if they are offering somebody late in the game like this, what does that mean? What that means is that they have seen recent tape of him in his senior year, that they're like, wow, this kid is way better than. And let me tell you, I have seen this for years and years and years, in the hockey business. We would send guys away. We'd finish the season. Season would finish April, May. If you were lucky, you played into June. You know what I'm saying? And training camp started end of August, beginning of September, right? Those kids would leave in May and come back in the end of August, completely different kids, completely different kids. And like, you're like, that's not possible that this kid can be the same kid. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
it's like, man, like a switch goes on, and these guys. There's a kid right now playing the WHL, the kid named Tyus Sparks. Tyus used to live with me for 3 years, billeted with me for 3 years, and he plays for the Vancouver Giants. But like during the preseason, like last year, he played as a 16-year-old in the league, scored like 12, 11 goals, something like that. This year, he comes back as 17-year-old in the exhibition season, plays and has 7 goals in the first 3 games.
Wow.
And it's just like you see that, and you're like, how many times do you have to see that for, with college, with high school kids, they go away as junior and they're pretty good. They come back as seniors and they're otherworldly. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They're just otherworldly good. And so the rating services haven't had a chance to catch up. Their commitment, maybe they made an offer to Maryland because that was the best offer they had
Yep.
at the time. And now Ohio State comes in. That's a kid I want, because I think that the chances of that kid being a Bradley Roby, who, if you remember, he was committed to Vanderbilt when we
Yeah.
got when we got and
Oh
everybody's
yeah.
like, Bradley Roby, who's Bradley Roby? We took a Vandy commitment. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You know,
Yeah.
well, yeah, he turned out to be okay. He was pretty good football player. So I love stuff like this. Recruiting. We put as many resources into recruiting, as necessary, but it's such a hard thing, because things switch and move, and the ebb and flow of recruiting is always so crazy. Um, but I still enjoy it. It's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. I like watching these things, but man, these late deciders, these kids that may have been, committed to Indiana, committed to Maryland, committed to whatever, but then Ohio State kind of swoops in, gets them. Man, I really like those ones a lot, and those are kids that definitely get me excited about recruiting.
Yep, definitely. I mean, it happens. I was talking to my guy about this. His son, my guy Dave, his son is a sophomore down in Tampa, working his way through, starting corner down there, and just going through the recruiting, system and all the stuff that comes along with it. And we were just talking, about how every kid does not just come out the gate a 5-star. I mean, some do. I mean, sometimes you're just naturally gifted. Jeremiah Smith. But there's other kids and a lot of kids who, they had to earn an offer. I mean, Terry McLaurin wasn't some big star coming out of high school. Look what he's doing. I mean, it's just there's so many levels to it. So it's definitely exciting. Ohio State's evaluation has been nails. We've been seeing this from guys that we're bringing in. I mean, look, even a Caden Curry. Like, to me, Caden Curry's a stud. Will he be an NFL guy because of his size and his tweener? I don't know. But for this level, he's coming on, and he's proving that he was a good evaluation. But also, I was going to say the other thing, don't forget about the pipelines. So, yes, Angelo earned his offer, not just because he's JJ's brother, but Chaminade Madonna is a gold mine, just like St. Thomas Aquinas. We've gotten guys out of there. Like, you got to be believing Miami Hurricanes they are just besides themselves. And they offered him. They offered Angelo. And you got to believe they're just like, Jesus, man. Ohio State, like, because you know how pipelines work. There's a familiarity with a school who's taking your players. But not just that, it's just even greater when you see that school is doing great things. And Ohio State, I mean, it speaks for itself. So don't, I guess, neglect the fact that the pipeline coming out of Chaminade Madonna is a potential gold mine as well. So, yeah, I love what this staff is doing. And as we told y'all a few weeks ago, and Ryan Day, and you have to read him between the lines, he pretty much told y'all, hey, we ain't done, and we're excited about what we're going to do between now and December. He said it's all that matters is what happens in December. He said that. Ryan Day just don't be saying stuff. I know if y'all think he just gets up there and it's just coach speaking, is whatever. But listen, I listen intently. I study Ryan Day and other coaches, man. And I'm telling you, you could tell what Nevada's saying from what he's hearing inside tracks with what Ryan Day said a few weeks ago. And they're excited about this class and what they're going to bring in, and some with the 11th hour, as Nevada has mentioned with these kids, man, and the flips and evaluations. I'm excited, but I'll end my spiel with this. I understood some level of angst when it came to recruiting for some people, seeing these big guys come off the board, and we weren't willing to pay them enough and pay these guys, and we're upset. We're losing all this talent because we're not willing to pay all that. But I tell you what, it just seems like, Nevada, and I'll turn it over to you. Doesn't it seem like all of those concerns, little by little, one by one, are just being alleviated from Hyder? We lost Hyder to scum and we weren't willing to pay him. But now we have Bo Jackson emerging, who is a dog and will continue to prove that he's a dog. Oh, we lost out on these big defensive end, Kari Wilder. Simeon is emerging, as a better than you thought prospect. So all these hand-wringing situations are starting to just, you're seeing the emergence of, we might be all right, Nevada.
Well, one, and specifically talking to the running back situation, you know, hint, hint, the running back from Tennessee that's in the 2027 class is almost a mortal lock to Ohio State. That's the big reason they didn't go after Hyder, is because they've got Bo Jackson. You can only go after one premier running back per season, and
Yeah,
they have Bo Jackson, you know what I'm saying? And running back from Tennessee in 2027. Watch for that kid, because that's who they really like. That's who they're all in on it. And you can't just be throwing, you can't throw money to everybody. You got to pick your
right.
spots and turn to doing a thing. But let's just be honest. This is not trying to point fingers at anybody or anything, but I'm going to name the last four freakouts that I believe that we've had, and you tell me if I'm wrong. And
Okay.
you can go Nevada. No, I don't know. I don't agree. I don't remember anybody saying about this. I'd say if you go back, I'll go to the oldest one. I'd say was offensive line depth. The offensive line depth heading into the 2024 season. That was
Yeah.
like we do not have depth on the offensive line. Okay, the second one was quarterback last year, 2024. The Will Howard, him coming in, Kyle McCord being, is Will Howard any good?
Can't throw the deep
Will Howard
ball.
can't throw the deep ball. Will Howard turns the ball over too much. Will Howard played bad competition. Will Howard will never be never be OSU caliber.
Mm,
That was very very popular take.
yeah.
Okay, then I'm going to advance to the next one. I think was defensive line for Ohio State heading into the season. We
Yes.
do not. Our defensive line. It's a mess. We don't have guys. We've only got this. What are we going to do? Larry Johnson should be fired. We don't. Blah 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 blah. Okay, defensive line. And then the next one is the 2026 class sucks. The
Yeah.
2020, we're losing out on all these guys. So if you look at those last four freakouts, okay, the offensive line depth, man, that was fast and furious, and
Oh
that
yeah.
one burned bright for a long time. Said this many times. We went to offensive lineman number 9 last year on our depth chart and won the national championship.
Mm,
So there's being wrong, and then there's being wrong, and like whoever was freaking out about the offensive line, you couldn't have been more wrong than you were to be freaking out about the offensive line depth. Because not only did we have offensive line depth, we were able to sustain losses in the offensive line that nobody in the history of college football has ever sustained, and
literally.
we won the national championship. So gotta own that one. Okay, the second one we'll go to the Will Howard thing. Will Howard not OSU caliber, can't throw the deep ball, this and that. I mean, I just don't have words. We won the national championship. He was unbelievable in that playoff. He led or was second in the nation in completion
Efficiency, wasn't it?
percentage.
Or completion
Yeah,
percentage.
second in QBR. I mean, just unbelievable by every metric. So freaking out about the quarterback position. No, 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 that wasn't right. Okay, then we'll go to the defensive line one. Okay, now I know the season's only 3 games old. I know we've played Grambling and Ohio used 2 of those games, but our defensive line's pretty good. Our
Yeah.
defensive line's, you know what I'm saying? Like we may lose games this year or whatever it is, and there's so but I think in general, our defense is terrific. Our defense is well coordinated, well managed, very cohesive, coherent. They don't drop guys, and we're able to bring pressure from all over the place, lots of creative ways, and so we're as through 3 games, we're as complete as you could possibly be on the defensive line, and so for the amount of angst that there was over that. I think even the most ardent defenders of that are kind of giving up the goose on that one and kind of going, okay, well, that was my third consecutive freak out, and that was wrong. So we've got those big three. Now we're on the fourth one, which is 2026. We haven't seen it yet. So when I'm saying to you on those last previous 3 ones, I was on the opposite side of freak out. I was on the let's not freak out about Will Howard. Let's not freak out about the O line. Let's not freak out about the D line. And I don't want to say I was right, but I was right. So that's where.
Yeah.
So when I'm telling you on the 2020 success, don't freak out about the 2020 success. I'm not just coming from some point of the. I hope I have some credibility, some insight, some things. I am telling you, don't freak out about the 2026 guy. So don't get caught up in reading stuff on the internet or oh, why didn't Michigan got this guy or guy went here we're gonna be just fine. The class is just it's a terrific class, quality up and down the class, and it's gonna get better and it's gonna finish stronger and it's gonna be and whoever we get, it's never the guys you miss on that kill you. It's the guys you get that can't play that kill you. I love the kids that we've got. Ohio State loves the kids that they got, and they love the kids that are in, and they're in on a lot of kids that maybe even committed elsewhere. Those conversations are continuing, and when conversations continue, and you're going to up offers, there's a very good chance that some of those kids are going to flip come signing day. So just hang in there, don't panic, That's my dad. So was that were those freakouts? Was that fair? Was that a fair encapsulation of what the former freakouts have been?
Absolutely. Absolutely, they were. And again, with me being on socials as much as I am and on the front, like I field all these freakouts you talk about, all these narratives. I field all of that. I got a front row seat to that. It usually comes to my porch, first. You know what I'm saying? So yes, you are absolutely accurate because with a lot of these freakouts, I'm there. Sometimes I just ignore stuff, but other times I will push back. Well, there's a couple potential freakouts. One, I think Geo did. I'm not sure who in the chat said it, but they mentioned the Fire Ryan Day. But I think that was a little different. More like more of a seasonal thing based off the Michigan loss. So I won't go into that one. But Matt Patricia was a mini freak out. There was a lot of people who wasn't feeling that higher, shockingly.
Good
That was
point.
just like you know what I'm saying. So the Matt Patricia stuff, um, coupled the Matt Patricia stuff coupled with the defensive line. Oh my God, we suck. That together was like a freak out in itself. But yes, you nailed it. I saw it all. I was trying to talk people off the ledge with these narratives as well. So yeah, I mean, we've been telling you like Ohio State. It's like Alexa, play "All Right" by Kendrick Lamar. We gonna be all right. Like that's Ohio State is always gonna be all right and more than all right because if anybody wants to continue to be dominant, it's Ohio State and the people up top and the coaches. There, it may seem like things are iffy at one point, but they always shift gears, and it's just like, oh, dang, we was tripping for no reason. It just they keep proving. So that's why me and Nevada are so confident about things because we keep seeing stuff like this happen. Nevada,
Well, and let me add that the moment that you and I see stuff that it's not all right, we'll be the first one to tell you.
yes, yes,
We will be the first one to tell you. Let me tell you something that's I think kind of an incomplete right now. That and this may be controversial, may not be controversial, but I think it's incomplete as to how good Brian Hartline is as an offensive coordinator right now. I think that's an incomplete. I think is it a freak out? No. But is it a a conversation that we're like, hey, okay, where's Brian at? I think the idea that Matt Patricia can't be a great defensive coordinator. I think that's settled science. I think that's just wrong. I think that one's been, even though it's only been 3 games, I'm ready to call that one a wrap and just kind of do the thing. But on Heartline, I think it's if people want to say, hey, I'm worried about Brian calling plays or how quickly he's going to adapt and turn to, something. I think that's a fair criticism because I don't think Ohio State's beyond criticism on any of this stuff,
right,
but the stuff when I hear this stuff and I'm like, man, it flies. It's just so counter to what I know or what my firsthand experience is with Ohio State. Like I said, it's like you going outside right now and somebody trying to tell you it's sunshiny, and you're like, no, man, it's raining. I can see it. I see the clouds. I see the rain. I see the wet on the ground. But like for Ohio State, man, it's sunshiny all day. It's
yeah,
recruit man. If you're worried about Ohio State recruiting, dude, worry about like asteroids hitting the earth or something like that,
yeah,
or something more likely than Ohio State messing up in recruiting. I mean, we may miss a kid here or there or whatever it is, but like, man, Ohio State has got recruiting going on. So when I see freakouts over recruiting, I'm just like, I really just am not understanding. But a lot of people spend a lot of energy on it, and our part of our job here on this podcast is to give it to you straight. We are not giving you the Ohio State narrative on it. We're not giving you the we want you to be here because we want Michigan fans like some of the other websites do. We're not trying to like grab some of we're just telling you the truth. We will always tell you the truth in terms of what's going on. But like this is a super talented team that is with a super talented staff that is really hitting on all cylinders right now on every aspect of the game. Um, do I have concerns about 2025? Yeah, for me, I always felt that 2025 was going to be a difficult. I thought 2024 was. I hate to even say this, but to me, 2024 was as close to national championship or bust as a season can possibly be, just
yeah,
because we had so much talent. and so many guys going back, I've always preached against that, but in my quiet places, I secretly was like, we got to win the Natty.
Yeah.
We have to win the Natty because we're so good. You know, now 2025 we came in and it was like we have so many questions, man. We're breaking in 8 new starters on defense. We're breaking in new coordinators on both sides of the ball. We're breaking in a new quarterback, our running back. I mean, we've got a lot of question marks on this team, but man, when I look around the college football, because I watch a lot of college football, talk to a lot of people, you know who the big bad wolf is in college football in 2025? The Ohio State Buckeyes. That's who it is. We're like, who's the great team? We're looking around for the great team. No, we're the great team. We're the great team. So we have a chance, a chip and a chair to go back to back. Now we do have a challenging schedule. I think the schedule's gotten a little less challenging now that Wisconsin's kind of soiled the buoy and they're just not they're just not very good. So but you gotta knock down these games. Like so for Ohio State, look, this is last week was a tough week for them. Ryan Day's really putting it hard on them. That's the one benefit of playing, I'll say, a predictably flat game against Ohio U. It's not like
Yeah.
they went out there and beat them, 89-0, and Ryan Day couldn't say anything to them because they were so perfect. A lot of mistakes against Ohio U. Lots of things they can clean up. Lots of things that need to be better, and they're going to need to be better because Washington is the kind of place that if you go in there and you're lackadaisical and you're not paying attention to detail and you let them get a couple of big plays, let them, get ahead 7-0, 10-0,
Yeah.
get the crowd into the game, throw an interception. Things can go really bad there in Washington really, really fast. And Ryan Day knows that. And he's preaching that they need to come out, they need to play fast, they need to jump on Washington and erase all hope for them early in the game. So that's what they're looking to do. They're looking to come out and make a statement against Washington right away because they don't want Washington hanging around in that game. And because the longer that game goes, where it's 10-3, 10-7, 14-10, whatever, they're going to start to believe that they belong in that game. And Ryan Day does not want them to have any belief, and he's looking to extinguish that right away. And I think that's exactly the way to play this game on Saturday.
Leave no doubt. Smash them. Head to the local market, get your smoked salmon, and get on the plane. I know that's what I would do. I would get me some smoked salmon before I left, but I'm a big seafood guy, and that's another
Yeah,
fact about me. I love seafood,
very
but
nice.
yeah, random. I know. I don't know. And I'm
You're
kind of.
you're you're Bemos. You're versatile, man. You are versatile.
And listen, I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of fat. I'm kind of fat. Like I know I'm tall and thin or whatever,
You
but
carry
I'm
it
like,
well. You carry it well, man.
thank you.
Yeah.
I'm a secret fat guy. A
You're
foodie.
sneaky. So I say it's sneaky big. Sneaky big. Yeah.
Exactly. So real quick, because before I respond to all of that, I want to say something else random and just off the cuff. Bro, I got to get the background on some of your sayings. Soil the buoy, chip in a chair, let her rip, tater chip. I mean, I have heard some sayings from you, bro, that I've never heard that are just catchy. And it's just like soil the buoy. Has anybody ever heard of soil the buoy? I love it though. I'm gonna have to take some
I
notes
mean,
on
it
that.
it kind of says it without even saying it. You know what I'm saying? You get the
I
idea.
mean, I
You're
get the
like, oh,
context clues. I
yeah,
get it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I just
So
never heard it, and you just let it fly out there like it was just, it just flowed. Like,
just soil the buoy, man. You just want to soil
oh
the buoy.
man,
Oh my.
that is funny. That is funny. I love it. I love it. So let me respond to all the good stuff you said. So and this is not me preaching to the choir. I know you know this, but there's a difference between criticism and having concerns and freak out. Dun, 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 like some of our fans do. Freak out. Sorry, that was in my head when you kept saying freak out. But
See.
Ian Bates, skinny fat B Moses. Yeah. Listen, okay, when you see me, I'm a tall and skinny-ish guy. Listen, right now, and I need to lose some weight. I'm 6'4", 228 right now. I need to
Extra
drop some weight.
extra large.
It depends.
I think
Depends.
I'm saying extra large. I'm saying you're sneaky big.
I need to drop some weight. I want to get down to a 215,
Ex,
a little more leaner.
extra large. If you want to be extra large.
But I'm saying I'm all over the place. Where was I? Okay, yes. Heartline. Okay. this is his first time actually calling plays. So it's a wait and see. It's been a mixed bag. It's been some, I don't think he's been terrible. I don't think he's been like, man, this is awful. No, but we're still kind of waiting to see. And just like players develop throughout the season with more reps, I think Brian Hartline will continue to find his footing with Ryan Day right in his ear, critiquing and bringing him along. But seeing him out there in Washington in this environment, because as a coordinator, you're not out there on the field, but you're guiding, you're coordinating them through that environment with this offense. And so I think this is just another data point that I'm excited to see with Brian Hartline. So I think that was a good point with that. And then you mentioned something else, and I lost my train of thought because I'm thinking about food again right now. But go ahead, Nevada.
Yeah, no, look, I think the Ohio State team's got, they've got question marks on it, but we've got a lot less question marks than we did at the beginning of the season, and that's kind of what I'm excited about. And I'm looking, as you look at these other teams around college football, I think, I'm waiting for these teams to emerge. And for me, Indiana's an emerging team, but Clemson's a team that's really, really disappointed. There's nothing scary about Miami. LSU is a good team, but they're certainly not great. Texas
Mm-mm.
certainly isn't what people thought Texas would be. Not sure how good Georgia is. Alabama, no. You know what I'm saying? So, like, when you start going down the list in terms of that, it's like, man, it really kind of setting itself up for a year where you could go back to back, where you could, it's not crazy talk to start thinking about this 2025 team, having an opportunity there at the end to do something special. And that's why I'm excited about this weekend, where you've got Oregon, Penn State. That's
Oh yeah, I can't
we're
wait
gonna
for that.
we're gonna find out a lot about both those teams. Those are both really good teams, and I personally think Oregon's the real deal. I think the program's the real deal. I think their players are the real deal. I know people like to bag on them, and I like to bag on Big Game Dan Lanning, because Big Game Dan Lanning doesn't win many big games. But
Right.
um, I I think when you have that much talent, and have you ever had a chance to? Have you ever been to Oregon? Have you ever been
No,
up
never,
that?
never.
Man, I'm telling you, when you talk about, as you can imagine, with Nike and everything else like that, there's facilities and then there's facilities. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like, their facilities are so nice.
I'm
And
sure.
for a school like that has virtually no local recruiting base. I mean, Oregon high school football is not putting out it. Like, who was the last great player out of Oregon high school football? Like, no one. So the fact that they get players from all over the country to come there, and first of all, Eugene, Oregon, it just rains all the time. I mean, and the weather's not great. There's nothing about it that's great,
Yeah,
but the facilities are great. And the fact that they're laying in that much talent with that much money that they're bringing in from Nike and the other stuff that they're doing, man, they're going to be a problem. So I'm looking forward to seeing this game. But
yeah,
I think, again, coming into that whiteout environment, super, super, super tough. But
yeah,
I think Oregon's going to be better than people think they are, and I just don't think Penn State's as good. We'll see Penn State at peak efficiency on Saturday night, because it's a whiteout. They're playing the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything about that game is going up there. But we'll find out how good they are.
yeah. That's and you actually brought up what more my train of thought was lost is because you were talking about the back to back potential, and I thought about the landscape as well, about how nobody scares me. And again, that doesn't mean that we can't get beat. That doesn't mean we don't have to be ready to play every week. But there's just not a team that scares me. And I'm very excited about this Oregon Penn State game because Oregon looks the part. They almost always look the part, but can they do it? And can they go into Penn State, who is going to be hands down the toughest game they played, from a defensive line and offensive line standpoint, a running game standpoint? They gave up some yardage, my understanding, against Northwestern. Northwestern was able to pound them a little bit early. So I talked to my Penn State buddy. I mean, he's all over it. And, there's a quiet confidence. I don't trust James Franklin, but I tell you what, James Franklin, when he has the help of a wideout at night, I think that is definitely helpful. So can Oregon? And I see Ian in the chat talking about he don't trust Dante Moore. I don't either. He looks good right now, but that environment. Listen, Nevada, not to go off the rails, but 2005 was the first time as a viewer I experienced the Penn State whiteout at night when Troy Smith went in there and Tamba Ali or Hali sacked Troy Smith. And I mean, that crowd was scary. I know you remember that game, Nevada. It was like the TV was shaking. I mean, I was terrified watching that game. Like, oh my God, I cannot believe like this game, this crowd is crazy. So a whiteout at night at Penn State is no joke. Can Dante Moore in Oregon go in there and limit mistakes, still execute against an opponent they haven't seen anything close to? Looking at their schedule, Oklahoma State is garbage. I think Oregon is the real deal as far as talent, but can they get out of Penn State with a win? I'm excited about this game, Nevada.
Yeah, no, it's funny because as you guys are aware, my daughter's a hockey player, and she's committed to Penn State, and we got to go to a night game last year where they brought her down to the field, and we got to go down there and experience it. And let me tell you, it's different. The whiteout crowd, their fans, I don't know if they pipe in noise or what they do or
Seems like it.
what it's something, man. Because I've been on the sideline at Ohio State, I've been on the sideline at Penn State, and I'm telling you, it's markedly louder at Penn State. And I don't know if it's acoustics, the way the stadium, I have no idea what it is, but it was deafening. I mean, it was absolutely deafening. So I think Oregon's going to have their hands full for sure. um, but I'll turn that around. When Penn State comes into Ohio Stadium,
Mm,
it's going to
mm,
be because I know the Ohio State crowd. You know the Ohio State crowds, like they brought it for Texas.
yes.
Okay, they brought it for Texas. Later in the season, when it's colder and they get the thing, and then Penn State comes running to town, I think it's going to be next level. I think it's
Oh
going to
yeah.
be. I think the crowd is going to be absolutely off the chains for Penn State. And as good as they are when they're at home in front of that raucous crowd and that crazy environment, um, it's hard for them to do it on the road. So I think we're going to get to see. It's kind of the tale of two cities for Penn State, because we're going to get to see the best of them this week when they play Oregon, and then we're going to see the flip side. There's always a flip side to the coin. We're going to see the flip side when they come into Columbus later on in the year in front of that crazy Ohio State crowd. And I think that's going to be that'll be the opposite. It'll have the opposite effect as it does this weekend.
Quick question. How much do you think, and in the chat you can answer this, how much do you think? Because listen, we got us. We're crazy. We're engaged. We know this stuff. We are like, hey, we're the guys and girls at the water cooler at the job who can tell you everything that's going on. For the casual fans in the stadium, or some of them, do you think the Jim knows element will add how much juice do you think the Jim knows element will add to this crowd with him coming back to coming back from Penn State after how he left? What you think?
Well, I guarantee you it'll add juice to the staff. It'll
Yeah.
add juice to the players. And I'm not sure if you're going to be able to add much to the crowd, because I think the crowd's already going to be worked to a frenzy. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of things going on there, and like you don't let players say that doesn't matter, because it matters.
Yeah.
Because he left them. You know what I'm saying? He left them to go there. He made a choice. He left and he went the other place.
True.
And while there, I will always have fond memories of Jim Knowles. Man, he's the enemy and he must be destroyed now. And I think
Yes.
that's how a lot of people feel inside the building. And there's not a visceral hate like they have for Tony Alford, the Fat Tony in Michigan, but
Yeah.
they want to beat Jim. They want to beat Jim, and they'll be extra fired up for that. And that's just, like I said, just another sub story to that game that makes that game so darn interesting.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's Penn State. Though even if they have one loss against Oregon, because looking at their schedule, if they lose to Oregon, they're not losing again before they play us. They're
No,
just
it's a
not.
schedule, but it's the schedule monster thing. I already told you. It's like you and
Yeah.
I've talked about this. Like you can look at your schedule and go, "Oh, Penn State's gonna have one loss. That's it. One loss, or they'll lose this. The other games are unlosable." And I hate that part of
Yeah.
college football, because, like in the NFL. you don't have that stuff. Like the Browns beat the Packers this week, and you know what I'm saying. Like you just
Hmm.
don't know. In the NFL, in college football, you've got games that are unlosable, short of
Yep.
being some sort of like thing that they celebrate, like Appalachian State versus Michigan 25 years later or something like that. Like there's too many games that are unlosable. There's too many mismatches, and if you just happen to be on the right side of the schedule maker and you get 10 of those, then you're in the playoff. And I hate that. That's the one thing I do hate about college football. They can fix that by starting valuing strength of schedule, but I'll have to believe that when I see that.
Yep. Penn State, they got after they play Oregon, win or lose, they're at UCLA, which is a dumpster fire with their coach being fired. Northwestern at Iowa, which sometimes is tricky for them, but they should win that game. Then they play us after a bye week. Now they gotta play Indiana after they play us, which is that's a low key banger back to back. But to your point, yes, they have nothing after Oregon, so that is going to be most likely because what Penn State is what number 3 right now. What are they ranked? Number 2 or 3.
Yep.
So even if they lose to Oregon, they'll have enough time to climb. I don't see them dropping out of the top 10 if it's a close game, right, Nevada? They'll still be a top 10 team.
No, no, I didn't realize they play Indiana after us. That's a low key
Yeah.
banger. That's a low key bang.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
I always like to be fair. So like in fairness, any season where you're playing Oregon, Ohio State, and at Indiana, that's
No, they got
that's
them at home. They got them at home, but it's
oh, they got
still
them at home,
tough.
but
It's
still, it's
still
still
tough.
Indiana. It's still, yeah.
Right.
That's a fairly tough schedule. That's a lot tougher than Michigan schedule. Michigan, I mean, Michigan doesn't play much at all. So it's like, I mean, they got play at USC and at Michigan State. Um, but I mean, there's too many stuff like that. There's too much junk that's going
Yeah.
on in college football, and Ohio State's got to get out of these stupid big out of conference games. But that's a story for another day.
Yeah, it is. It is. But but yes, it's going getting back to the crowd at Ohio Stadium. It's going to be crazy. I wish it was a night game. I went to a Penn State game. I don't know if you remember, we played Penn State at night when we had Braxton Miller, and Braxton completely just destroyed them. I mean, we had Carlos Hyde, we had Rod Smith. He even had a good game, I believe, at running back. Remember that name, y'all, Rod Smith? But I playing Penn State at night is a great. It's not quite the whiteout at Penn State. I'll give it to them, but it was still a great environment. So I wish Big Noon, and I'm not trying to start a whole nother show with this, but I wish Big Noon didn't control this game as they usually do because it used to be a night game a lot, or at least a good amount of the time. And so now it's going to be another noon game, which is fine. But I'm just saying, I wish it was a night game this year.
Well, yeah, but
Nevada.
How did Oregon Penn State slip out of the big noon spot? I mean, they get like why isn't that a big noon game?
Um,
This is what I don't understand. Like like so Penn State gets this game at night, and let me tell you what Penn State's
NBC.
a
It's
yeah,
NBC.
but it's a very different game being played. But I don't understand all that stuff with this and that and who gets the game and the first game and this and that because like I don't know. It just seems like Oregon Penn State. I wish that why don't they do the Ohio State treatment to them and make that game noon? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But oh well. Woe is
Yeah.
me.
It's whatever. But again, great show. We're gonna go ahead and wrap. No super chats for now. But listen, we still got a lot to talk about coming up with this game at Washington. I'm already seeing, people talk about upset, and the line is getting smaller, and can they stop their 6'4" receiver and whatever. So I like it, Nevada. I love it. I love the doubt. I love the how can I put it? The haters hate watching, getting ready for their hate watch this weekend, hoping that we get picked off. Number one, I'm feeling great about the matchup. I think one of the reasons as we close out that I feel great about the matchup is that this team and these coaches are taking it very, very seriously. This is not a trap game, okay? They are looking at this as a big game and a statement game, like Nevada said earlier. So we're gonna talk about it this week, Nevada.
Ohio State by 4 touchdowns.
Ooh,
It won't
ooh,
be close. It's not
ooh.
going to be close. Calling it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that, man. I feel it. I feel it in my plums. Ain't that what
Yeah,
Will Ferrell
the one
said?
Washington's defense is just not very good, man. They're just not
Yeah,
very
they're
good.
not.
And
They're not.
they're gonna get violated this weekend. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I can see that. After seeing North Texas smash Washington State 59-10, and I know the transitive property doesn't always work, blah blah blah, but still, it's just man, I'm with you. I'm with you. I would love that. But anyway, listen, appreciate y'all, Scoop family in the chat. Appreciate y'all showing up like I do deep every night. We're gonna see y'all tomorrow. Go Bucks and beat the Huskies. Peace.